Well, today, let's just get that sun out. Today is bringing a new day, and I think I've spoken this video about 5,000 times in my head this morning, because I'd like to share something which I think is very important, and it's also a big deal to everybody, in my opinion. So what I want to share is that this weekend I thought I couldn't get down any lower, and then we got even lower, and it was interesting. And it was interesting because I got triggered in all kinds of ways, and I started to get incredibly fearful and paranoid and anxious and angry. Actually, I didn't get as angry as I normally would, but I got triggered in a big way and started to question myself and question everything around me, and starting to believe that whole it's all bad, bad, you know? You know, like it gets in life. Anyway, so it got worse, and then today's a new day, right? So I have to backtrack a little bit. I have to backtrack to 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I decided to take this journey of figuring out what I was supposed to do with my life, what it's all about, how I could make my children's lives better, and why was I still having panic attacks, right? So why was I still stressed even though I had everything? And let's be honest, if you look at my life, I have had a very privileged life. I have two healthy, well-educated, I've always been working parents. I have a healthy, well-educated in his field brother. He has a successful family. He has a successful job. Nobody is unemployed in that part of my family. And then if you look at me, I'm well-educated. I've always had good jobs. Always been able to get good jobs. Apart from, you know, the normal, the fact that I have the passport I have, you know, where I live, that's a real big deal. And the paperwork I have, which makes me already, you know, part of the people at the front of the line. I got married at the right age to the right person, had two very healthy, beautiful children, exactly what I wanted, a boy and a girl, and still managed to, you know, work, get educated and all that stuff in between, and they are healthy and well-adjusted young children, right? So on paper I am extremely privileged, and I have it all. So why, if I'm that privileged and I have it all, did I not enjoy it as much as I did? And so 4 years ago, I stepped off the gravy train, stepped off the zoo train, and started this journey to self-discovery. And along the way, I was embittered with the educational system, so I took my children with me, and we homeschooled for 2 years, and we gave them the best education they could have at their young age. Basically, we gave them a childhood. So we didn't force them into the system. They were basically given a childhood, and it suited their personalities. So my daughter stayed very close to me, and my son was like, I want to go and see an elephant. And we went and saw an elephant, right? And we did a whole thing about elephants. And so we just basically lived the best life ever. But along the way, I wasn't happy, I was stressed, I was anxious, panicky, fearful, all the rest, right? And so we continued the journey. I wasn't done with it. And at a certain point, the kids wanted to start school, so they started school, and it is the best place for them. It is the best school for my children ever. It suits both of them very well, which is unusual. You don't normally get one place that suits all, right? So it's so far so good. Nobody knows for the future, but right now it's pretty awesome. So that was that. And so then it was a case of, okay, let's keep going. Now, the one thing about me is I give time limits to stuff. I'm not just going to wander into this darkness and then say, sometime I'll know. No, there was a very specific end date for this discovery journey, and that was the 16th of June 2016. Reason for choosing that was basically when a lot of paperwork ran out, my daughter's passport, a couple of cards that I have, it wasn't just like, it was a pretty specific date. And it's coming up. I mean, it's now 2016, and it's the 6th of February, is it not? Or the 7th of February, I don't know. And we're coming up to that date. Now, what then happened was I started begging in my prayers and begging in my meditation and begging in my daily life to speed it up, because I think I'm pretty much at the end of it. I get it now. I know I can see the end of it. I can see where we're getting towards. And I started begging, right, okay. My birthday came up and there was a full moon over my birthday. We are then moving house at exactly the time after my birthday. And then my best friend is coming at the end of this month, and then my parents are coming the month after. So it's all coming together, and I saw an opportunity, to beg on the universe and myself and to pray to God that I could just compress this learning experience and get the answer, so that all the negativity, all the bits, the past, all the old lives, I could leave in this house and then move to the new house and not take it with me. Okay, so I believe in symbology, right? So I believe in symbolism. So this for me was a very symbolic moment. Whether you believe it or not, it's not important. It's important to me. It's funny though, it's ironic, because in art therapy, what I was taught process-orientated art therapy and not psychoanalytical therapy. So I was never taught a whole bunch of symbols that I had to look for in people's work, and I become the interpreter of my client's work. I was trained to make the client the master of their own work. So that's basically what I always do, is like, we take the process, but we look at the process as symbolically almost, right? So you look at materials in a way of like their characteristics that they have, and then you put it together with what they actually do to a person and how that can help them in their process. It's a very fascinating way of looking at things, and I love it, and I still believe in it, and I believe in it because it's the way I think. So the symbolism within it all is basically the process. You have to look at the process as a symbol, and you have to look at the symbols within that. No, the process, you look at the process and then you look at the symbols within it and how they affect you. So how they affect me would be very different than how they affect you, right? So that's what makes me the master of my life and you the master of your life. But I can help you to move through that process, and I can give you the experience and the knowledge that I have in order to empower you to become the master of your own life. So that's basically what it is. So I looked at this like an art therapy process, right? So it's basically a therapy process that I've put myself through, and with a hell of a lot of support along the way from different people. And so I came to this moment, I'm like, okay, I think I'm getting there. I think I get it. I think I know what I need to do. And being mentored by different people, especially in the online community, I've been able to see what resonates with me. And I begged and begged and begged and begged and begged to leave all of the negativity in this house, okay? And I've got a perfect symbolic picture in my head of what the negativity looks like. It's called termites. We had termites for the first 6 months that we lived in this house, and they would literally, the wall would crawl and it would move, and you'd hear it's really gross. So I have that image in my head. It's a very powerful image. I can feel it, smell it, hear it, smell it, the whole lot. I've got it. It's completely enriched in my brain and entrenched in my brain. So I have the symbolic picture. So all the negativity is going into that, right? But I hadn't got it all out. There were still some things that I hadn't figured out. And it all came out this weekend, right? So I have a lot of trigger points around money. I have a lot of trigger points about how I deal with my negativity and my anxiety, right? So how I deal with my paranoia and my relationship outside of myself. And that basically relates back to my relationship I have with myself. Okay, so, and that I am still looking for answers outside of myself. I'm still looking for love outside of myself, reassurance outside of myself. I still put my foundations into the hand of somebody else, right? And then wonder why they come up lacking. Well, that's because they're not me. So it's kind of ironic that you would do that and find out that it doesn't work. So this weekend I was triggered to the max, okay? I was absolutely triggered to the max. Everything came out. There was even a baby born, 2 babies born in this weekend. One of my step-sister-in-law, I think that's what you'd call her, and another one of a friend that we used to know in Kuwait. So, I mean, there's been a lot of stuff happening this weekend. And then on top of that, we had no money and the moving didn't happen, and things got cancelled that I did not expect to be cancelled. My plans got changed and I struggled with that. And then my kids got disappointed and they got upset, and I had a hard time with it all. And then the whole husband thing and all of that, and me being a wife and me being, whole load of stuff going down in all of that. But amongst it all, it was really interesting to see how it worked in my process. So, drink a coffee. Abu Dhabi. No, I make better coffee than Starbucks, by the way. If you want decent coffee, come visit me. Anyway, so I was triggered this whole weekend, and what it comes down to is this one single concept that I finally understood. And that is, in my head, I am free. And I never actually truly was free in my own head. Because as I said, I was triggered, okay? I've been triggered a lot this weekend, and triggered a lot through my emotions. And I get triggered through my emotions through circumstances and other people. For instance, my kids, if they get upset, it really upsets me. And I get really upset. I don't know what to do. I want to fix it. I want to make them feel better. I just can't cope with it. Can't cope with it, right? And so it triggers me, and it influences how I think, and then it snowballs, right? That's just one example. Another example is if things don't go as I expected them to, or an event or a situation, and so it triggers, and then it affects how I think and how I feel about myself. And so this is what happened this weekend, was finally getting my head pushed down into the ground by circumstances, people, emotions, the whole micmac, as they like to say, getting pushed right down there, and then realizing, ho, you can do what you like with my body and with my emotions, but I am free in my own head, okay? Back to saying that I'm privileged. I have never, ever been physically abused my entire life, and that is a big privilege. So I don't know what that is really like, but I hope that what I'm saying to you, if you have been abused in those kind of situations, will say to you that you are still free in your own mind. And that is a powerful concept, I've realized. And it's not easy either. And so what I decided this morning, back to the symbolism, right, is that I am free inside of my own mind. So how I feel about my destructive nature, the other side of, like the dark side of my nature. So the bright side is bright light, happy, bouncy ball, always trying to look to make something positive, always trying to make something work, very hopeful. But the dark side is, I'm anxious, I'm panicky, I'm fearful, and if you trigger my fight or flight reaction, I will fight, and I fight with fire. And so that's the negative side of, not negative, but the destructive dark side of my nature. And this morning I decided to rethink how I thought about it. And so in the past I used to be terrified of fire, of my fire, and how strong it was, and how I just constantly, in the beginning I thought I'd just destroy everything. And then what I found very comforting was the next like thought evolution, and that was, well, a forest fire happens and it clears the forest floor, and then new shoots can come up, right? So you get new growth, you get regrowth. And I found that very comforting for a long time, but then I became quite despondent by it, because I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to wait again. I'm gonna have to be patient and wait again and let the dust settle and then let the growth come. And I just thought, there has to be a different way to this. And then so today, this thought has always been in the back of my mind. It's always come back. And if you look at my Facebook profile, you'll see that this is a Facebook profile picture that I use regularly over the years. Because I've decided finally that my dark, shadowy side of myself is like the rich, thick pond floor. And from that rich, thick darkness, the roots of the lotus flower prosper and they grow. And from that thick, rich darkness, we get a beautiful lotus flower, and that is enlightenment. So the thicker and the richer and the darker it is underneath, the more it grows. And instead of thinking that it's going to die and have to regrow again every time, like a phoenix, like a forest floor, that every time I gain another leaf, and it just grows and grows and grows and grows and grows, and my enlightenment grows. And so that's the thought that I'm going to have from now on about my dark side, about my shadowy place, about my paranoia, my anxiety, my panic, and my anger, and my fear. All of those very self-destructive emotions which destruct me and also the people around me, and it affects my relationships greatly. And it means that a lot of the time that when I am in that place, I just stop showing up, right? And I have a really hard time with that, because I love working and I love showing up and I love working with people and I love serving people and I love sharing what I know in order to help other people grow. And when I can't show up, I feel really bad, and so it feeds into that cycle of that negativity. So I get really despondent and anxious and paranoid and fearful, and then I get angry, and then it bum 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 bum, and it constantly feeds itself. So if I just allow it to sink down into the bottom of the pond and let it become this thick, rich, dark, shadowy pond floor, from where my lotus flower can start sucking up the nutrients and growing. And I'm not saying that I'm going to start growing from my negativity. I'm just saying I am accepting it as part of who I am. And I am accepting it as, and allowing it to have a presence instead of trying to repress it and being afraid of it. It is part of who I am. You know, we live in a very secular, watch out for my words here. We live in a cycle of life, you know. We have the sun and the moon constantly chase each other, and you have light and you have darkness. It's just what we have, and it helps us to understand the other one. So you can't truly understand light unless you have darkness, and you can't truly understand the positive side of yourself without having the negative side of yourself. It would be great if it was different, but that's the universe we live in. That's what we live in. So we know about good because there is evil in this world, and we know about evil because there is good in this world. And so if we raise one, if one grows, the other one grows with it. So we have to just imagine that we have to bring balance into it all, and you can't repress one without affecting the other. And so I just want to be free in my own thoughts and have that image in my mind of the pond with the lotus flower as my way of dealing with my shadowy place, and understanding that I can be triggered by other people and situations, and especially through emotions. I get enormously triggered through my emotions, and it can be as simple as a conversation I've had with someone, and it used to be any conversation I would have with anyone when I was a teenager, but now it's certain people. If they say certain things to me, then it triggers me, and it takes me into this negative spiral. Whereas now I would just like to see if I can just bring that into the murky pond floor to feed my flower, and to enrich my enlightenment. And so that's basically what I want to share with you today. And I feel incredibly inspired today, and I do always feel like a phoenix, that from the fire I am reborn. And my physical world, no, not calm. No, it's not sorted. No, it's not okay. But here I'm free, and here I'm going to stay free, and here I'm going to keep doing my work, and I'm still going to keep showing up, because that is what I have to do. And I firmly believe in what I'm doing, and I firmly believe in of being a movement. And I am just here to increase the movement between everything that is out there that I can get coming through me, and I can give it back to you. And so that you can live the best life that you want to lead, and that you can live your dream life, and that you can be free, and you can also accept your shadowy place, and to see it in balance with your light place, and to really appreciate that we can all believe different things, but we are spiritual beings. And whether you believe in this reincarnation of God or that reincarnation of God, or you don't believe in God, or you just believe in what you see, well, what you see is also influenced by what you can't see. You know, you can't see the wind, you can only see the leaves that are carried by the wind, but you can't say it doesn't exist. So it's just, I see myself as an instrument, and I really do believe that I'm here to create movement, and I can only do that if I create the movement and the belief within myself. So I start with myself, and I pass it on to my family, and then I pass it on to you, and then we just keep on passing it on. So yeah, I'm in a good place right now in my head. The rest of it, it'll get there. I'm not really that bothered. My kids went to school today, and they were kind of happy about it all. I got the before they drove off in the car, so that's good.